Now this piece is inspired by Studland Bay, which is a long sweep of Dorset sand, and it's got low dunes, and colour-wise is yellows, greens, and a quiet line of houses sitting just behind the ridge. Now I've used these elements because they give the place its character. There's a sense of a lived-in coastline there instead of a postcard one. And composition-wise, I kept the boats as the anchor. There's three simple shapes on the sand, angled just enough to lead the eye across the beach and towards the houses. The first wash is cobalt blue and some cerulean blue, just to take the blueness off a little bit. Nice and strong, just going onto dry paper. Paper I'm using is my old favourite, which is the £180 Saunders Waterford Rough. Now I'm keeping this edge going as it's dry. I want it to look, the whole thing to look reasonably flat, and then I want it to get lighter as it gets down to the horizon. So just sweeping this mop across very lightly, just brushing it across the tip of the paper. Now I've used a nice big brush here. I'm only using a quarter sheet imperial, so it's not a particularly big piece of paper, but it enables some kind of looseness really using a big brush like this. Brush wise, it's a number 6 red dot collection from Rosemary and Co. And I've just watered it down a little bit as we go down to the to where the sea is. Now, coming back to the composition, I've kept the boats as an anchor. There's three simple shapes on the sand. They're angled just enough to lead the eye across the beach and towards them houses that you can see. I put a figure in because I thought that it would add scale without becoming a subject, and the dunes form a soft barrier, and those houses sit quietly above them like a rhythm of shapes. Sky's open, bright and uncomplicated. I'd say it's a typical Studland night and perfect for letting the foreground do the work. Colour wise, I've used the colour relationships from Studland rather than strict accuracy. I've probably made it a bit brighter than it actually was. The warm dune grasses, the cool blues of the boats, the soft chalky tones of the houses. It's more about the feel of the place really than a literal record. Colour I'm using now is called Jaune Brilliant, which is Jaune. Brilliant, Brillint. Never sure how you say it. I presume it's done with a slight French accent. I've used quite a strong mixture there. I'm only going to put a couple of washes on this beach and not making too much of the beach really. It's just going to be this colour. Cadmium yellow, strong colour. Just a little bit of cadmium red, and just dipped into the alizarin crimson there just to take the yellowness off. And pushing the brush along that sandy, the grassy bank. Switch me mop. I'm now using a size 2 red dot mop. That's another Rosemary and Co mop. They're the two main brushes I'm using today. I'm only using 4 brushes today, 2 mops and a round and a rigger. The other brush I'm going to be using, if you're interested, is a number 8 pure Sable series 99 from Rosemary and Co. And the rigger is just one from their rigger collection, Eclipse rigger number 2. Now while I was about it, I've done a wash on that second boat in, which is going to be a kind of a yellowy, dirty kind of a colour, worn out kind of boat kind of colour. Back to the number 2 mop and going into sepia. The sepia I use is Winsor & Newton. The cadmium yellow I use is Jackson's own make artist grade watercolour. I do have a combination on my palette. I used to be all Winsor & Newton, but I've switched a little bit now. Use some Jackson's colours. I think when I went on to Jackson's once and I couldn't get hold of some paints, I tried some of theirs and I was quite impressed. So I didn't see any reason to go back to Winsor & Newton on some of the colours. Just bringing in these houses at the back there, doing the roofs first. If you're going to have a go and you struggle a little bit with your drawing, there will be an outline drawing on the site for you to use. There are ways of getting the image off of there. You could use tracing paper or a light box. But I do push quite hard with the much harder than I would do if I was just doing a painting. I'm not worried about the outline drawing. I do quite a heavy outline drawing, which sometimes I rub the pencil lead out because it's quite overwhelming sometimes. It's, as I say, it's much harder than what I'd normally do if it was just me doing it. And I also do more. I also break the lines up more if I'm doing it, so they're easier to dissolve and get rid of. Just dipping into this cobalt blue, taking a little bit of the colour off with some cadmium red and doing a boat. These boats here, they just need enough detail to read really, but not enough to dominate the painting. And these houses as well, they're deliberately understated really. I don't want them to be main part of the main part of the painting. I just want them to be part of the landscape really. I don't want it to be the subject. Lavender, just using the number 2 mop, just running this nearest brush in. It does look the same colour as the other boat, but it is different. I think it's just the way the studio lights shine on it, and some of the colours don't quite look true. And I've just gone with a bit of paint along the bottom, just so it's not a solid blue mass, or a solid lavender mass, I should say. Sap green is the yellow mix. I'm going to change that colour just a little bit. Not quite what I wanted, so put a little bit of Chinese white, sap green. Just pushing that brush along. You see how I use these brushes? It's just the way I kind of work really with all the brushes I use now. I just push it sideways along this rough paper. It gives a nice broken edge. And they're just running along the top of that nice goldy colour. Those grasses on the bank. And just losing a few of those pencil marks as well with it. Thought it looked too white there, so I've just got a small brush. This is a size 8 Sable brush. Just put a little bit of colour on it. Going back to the houses now. Yeah, Studland Bay. It's a lovely, lovely part of the country. Been there many times. Love the sand dunes. Put a bit of colour on this house nearest. Make that blue. Cobalt turquoise. Just doing a line. Distant shore it is. Going to do another line of colour on these grasses coming down the far bank. Getting progressively darker as we go down. Sun's coming from right to left, so as we go down the bank it gets deeper in the shade. That'll be quite a nice effect. Letting the brush tip dance along the top of the paper. Got a kind of quiver there going on with my hand. Various colours, blues, greens, just darkening it up. Just taking this into the distance. Just doing a very few dark marks in the distance as things are going away. Another wash on the roof. Watery Payne's grey sepia. And a little bit of white here and there. And just letting some light red bleed into it, which is going to be the colour of that chimney. I think that'll look nice. It's bleeding into the roof colour there. Makes it look old. And just made a slightly darker green again, adding more blue, darker blue to the yellow mixture, cadmium yellow, French ultramarine. Getting darker and darker as it comes down the bank. Another wash on this distant boat, cobalt blue. I just want to liven up this middle boat as well, so just gone to cadmium yellow neat. And back onto that's lavender and the yellow mixture at the bottom of that boat. Quickly run the brush across, nice broken edge. Be putting some shadow underneath that soon. And then there's the man there by the boats. Part of the connection. Got the boats, the man, the bank, the houses, the sky. Where possible, I do like things to connect, shapes to connect. Bit too much paint there, so I took it off. Just dipping into some of that blue colour, darkening things up, putting windows in, that kind of thing. Doing the sea in the distance, just a little tiny bit of the water showing there, just enough to keep the eye in the picture. Got the sun behind these houses, so I'm going to do these fronts in shadow. Maybe need a bit more than that. I'll go back to that later on. Back to cobalt blue. Just touched a little bit of alizarin crimson, and I mean a little bit as well. It's quite a powerful colour that, so you really just need the slightest little bit there, and this really is a good colour for shadow. Well, in this case, actually, I did put some green in it as well. Because it's coming off these dark grasses down the bank. I thought there'd be a bit of green in the shadow, so yeah, so it's not just cobalt blue and alizarin crimson, it's the some of the green mixture as well. Quite watery. Only going to put one wash on. Just keep going, don't want no edges. It's going to give a sense of height and depth to this sandbank. And put a little bit of shadow on this man here as well. Lots of blue in this shadow for the boats. This neat cobalt blue. You can see now there's anchoring that shadow's anchoring that boat to the to the beach. It doesn't look like it's floating in midair now. This is the rigger brush. Wasn't tempted to use this too early on. This is a size 2. This is an Eclipse rigger. I'm just going to go around, just give an indication of some outlines. Not outline everything, just window frames, and there might be some lines of roof tiles, gutters, a little bit of shade where the roof overhangs, and just touching the tops of these grasses, the yellow grasses on the bank. I am drying this off in between with my dryer, which you can't see because I stop it when I do that, as it's quite noisy. You won't want to listen to that for a few minutes. If we go into the distance doing these couple of posts on the beach, put them in once again, just part of the composition, just to keep the eye in the painting. If your eye goes to the left of the boats, it goes up to those posts and takes you up, like there's some steps leading up to the houses. A bit more definition to this person there. But once again, not making too much of him. Everything I'm trying to do with restraint here, even the black marks, little dots and dabs here and there. Just making some interesting marks. And then come down to the boats, doing these ropes on the beach. Neutral tint's a dark colour I'm using for these lines, keeping them broken, not just doing dead straight lines, trying to make them a little bit interesting. Good brush to use, the rigger. I enjoy it when I get the rigger out, but it can become addictive, as I've said before, using the rigger. You put too many lines in. And back to the Jean Bouillon to just put some darker areas on this beach. I've been painting quite a few boat pictures on the channel of late. I mean, I really enjoy. I can't get enough of them. But if you should like to suggest other subjects that myself would like to paint, or that others would like to see painted, landscapes, type of landscapes or places, just let me know. Once again, darkening up the front of these buildings. Thought they were way too light. Put another wash on them. Needs to be dark against light with these. And now I'm using the size 8 just to put some marks on pebbles, things on the beach, just break up this very light mass. I'll be using some other techniques which I'll explain as we go. Smaller dots in the distance, larger ones in the foreground. Just want to put some interest in this nearest boat there, rowing boat. Looks a bit too much with just a bland lavender wash, so just smudging a bit of paint on, a bit of darkness at the bottom. Needs a few more stones and things there, I think. Beach is quite pebbly, really. Now I've got the size 8 brush, banging it against one of the mops, watery paint. Very restrained. I mean, if you want to go if you want to have a go at spattering yourselves, just put some piece of paper or just something to cover the boats up so you don't smother them in dots. I'm relatively confident that I can get around these boats. Just a couple of spots here and there, which won't really matter too much. And we're coming to the finish now. This painting. Just pop my signature on. So that's it, really. A simple coastal moment. I think it carries the atmosphere of Studland Bay. There's a quietness about it, the space, and the way these boats sit patiently on the sand, waiting for the tide. I tried to keep the whole painting light on its feet, letting the washes do the talking rather than me over describing anything. I think it's painting built from observed shapes, gentle contrast and a sense of place rather than detail. And that's what I enjoy about these coastal studies. Yeah, these kind of paintings let me focus on mood and structure without getting tangled in too much accuracy. There we are with the tape off. Studland Bay. Thanks very much for your support. It genuinely helps me to make these paintings and sharing the process with you. Until next time, I'll say goodbye.